The Experienced Pros, revolutionizing the way people treat people in business.
Paperback writer.
Welcome back to the Experienced Pros Radio Show. Very nice to have you along with us. We started in our first hour talking about publishing your own book, and now we want to carry this on to a concept that I guess I've never really come across these two words used in the same sentence, an entrepreneurial author.
Ooh, an entrepreneurial author. Whether you go with traditional publishing or self-publishing, our next guest says that in order to be a truly successful author who can sell enough books to earn a profit and possibly even become a bestseller, you must treat book publishing, sales, and marketing as your own business. And so we're going to talk to our guest, Kim Staflund. She's with the publishers, Polished Publishing Group. And I know fast. She supports a business model in which authors can take a proactive entrepreneurial approach. Kim, welcome to the Experienced Pros Radio Show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Kim, very nice to have you along. In our first hour, we mentioned that writing the book is the easy part, really. And from there, it gets more complicated because you need to figure out how to market it. How do people get their head in the right space to become an entrepreneurial author?
Well, the first step in all of this is for authors to get to know the different types of book publishers out there, first and foremost, and how these different publishers will affect the quality and saleability and even copyright ownership of their book. So there's typically three types of publishers out there. There are your traditional trade publishers. There are your vanity publishers, we call them, and also supportive self-publishing houses, which are kind of a hybrid of the two.
Okay, so, help us understand what the differences are.
Okay, well, the differences are that the traditional trade publishers are the publishers where you send in your manuscript, and you're going to hear back in 3 to 6 months whether or not they're accepting it. They are the ones that are assuming all financial risk and responsibility for publishing that book, and in return for that, what they're doing when they're publishing that book, when they're paying for it, they are buying the copyright ownership of it from you. And so authors maintain only basic publishing rights, which pay them a small royalty of the fees, but the publisher owns it, whether it's temporarily or permanently. It depends on the different contracts. So that's the traditional publishing model. Vanity publishers, which would be, for example, your Create Space or your different areas where you can just kind of upload your files to them. If you haven't had a cover created yet, they have a template builder. They can create a cover for you. So vanity publishers are, you pay for the production of your own book. The only issue with these vanity publishers is they're kind of the opposite extreme of trade publishers. There's no mandatory copy editing. There's no mandatory professional graphic design, etc. And that's where some authors run into issues. Okay. So supportive self-publishing takes the best of both worlds to make sure that you get a professional quality result. You're going to maintain your own copyright ownership of the book, which, you know, I mean, you guys, you're authors, and congratulations on your new book that's coming out in May, your updated List That Saved My Business.
Thank you.
So you're familiar with what it takes to earn a profit.
Sure.
So as long as you are the owner of your book, you can maintain that profit. So but you also, I think, recognize the importance of copy editing and proper professional graphic design and how that can represent you.
Yeah, Kim, I find that there's different skill sets as a writer. You know, that's a very creative skill set. You're all alone, you're in your head, you're in that creative process. But once that book is written, now you are out maybe doing public speaking, which is a very different skill set. And you're doing the PR, you're doing the radio and the book tours and the media tours. Also now running a business. It's two different skill sets. And I think that when you go with that trade publishing, that traditional publishing route, I think you assume that they are going to do all those other parts for you. Is that true?
A lot of people make that assumption. And what a lot of people don't realize about traditional publishing is they are focusing on their front list only. So a lot of publishers think, or a lot of authors think, well, if I publish through them, they're always going to be out there promoting me, and nothing could be further from the truth.
Right. Yeah, good. Well said. All right, so what are some of the other things in today's publishing landscape that you see authors or writers find challenging?
Well, there's a lot of different kind of challenges available, and so that's why I kind of tell people, first and foremost, there are a few questions that you have to ask yourself. And in my book, How to Publish a Best-Selling Book and Sell It Worldwide Based on Value, Not Price, I talk about these 10 questions that authors need to ask themselves. And just to give you an example of a couple of them, do you want to retain copyright ownership of your book? Do you want to maintain majority creative control over the publishing process? These are just some of the questions you need to ask yourself. From there, you need to figure out which book publishing business model is going to be the right one for you to help you achieve your goal. So some of the challenges, I think, with authors is they don't have a strong enough understanding of this industry, and maybe they take the wrong route for what they're trying to achieve.
Kim, do you see self-publishing kind of going away? Like it's kind of was a fad of, okay, everybody could, and just because you could, turns out we didn't do it well. You know, kind of everybody was doing podcasting for a while. It was like the trend for marketing. Do you see it getting better, going away, or what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think that once people educate themselves on the publishing industry, they're going to realize that kind of the future of publishing is moving toward the hybrid model. So you want to be able to maintain that copyright ownership, because when you have that copyright ownership, when you're the owner of that product, you're the one then that can sell the additional rights, whether you're selling, different language rights or movie rights or whatever you're selling for your book. That's where the real money is, not in the royalties, not in the actual sale of the book, but in the sale of the rights. Oh. So as long as you can maintain ownership of your own book, you have that opportunity to own those rights. However, what I always say to authors is, don't just think that you can just self-publish on a create space without, you need a team effort. You need professional quality editing. You need professional quality graphic design to just give your book the best shot at the best book reviews, the critical reviews.
Kim, one last question for you. Do we need handcuffs and leather chains to sell a book these days?
No, you don't. And with 50 Shades.
What?
50 Shades was obviously a vanity published book in the beginning. And then it was picked up. The rights were bought by a subsidiary of Random House, which is why it was able to grow. So that's the beauty of, she owned her own rights. Right. However, the telltale sign of a vanity published book is the vast number of poor literary reviews it received, even after it was picked up by Random House. So here's the question that I have for authors. How did it become so popular? And a more important question would be, what if I told you it's possible that you can receive that kind of accolades and you can reach that level of success? But what if I told you could do that and still get excellent reviews? Wouldn't you rather have a bestseller that gets excellent reviews?
Yes.
So It is possible if you follow this hybrid book publishing model, instead of just vanity publishing and just putting something up there that has very obviously not been copy edited.
Yeah, the reviews of how poorly the book was written, I think, did shock a lot of people, but not if they read it. I didn't read it. So,
sure.
Kim, great stuff, great interview. Thank you so much for being our expert guest today. How do our listeners follow you?
Listeners can follow us. We're all over. We're Facebook and Twitter. You can also go to our website at www.polishedpublishinggroup.com.
Published?
No.
Polished. Publishing.
Polishedpublishinggroup.com.
PPG.
We're so sorry that we did it that way. Polishedpublishinggroup.com. Make sure your publishing is polished. Kim, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Folks, don't go anywhere. When we come back, more positive business talk. You're listening to Angel and Eric on the Experience Pros Radio Network.
The Experienced Pros are here to help you get your business right. To learn more, visit experiencepros.com.